recall, he says, well, I've got to tell the truth. And the response was that it will ruin your life, is what she told him. And then at 1 minute and 52 seconds in, you are never working again. And so that's why, Your Honor, I wanted to explain to the court why my client has multiple incidents of this, continues the cycle. And as you can see from the text message and other things we've submitted.
How are those statements pertinent to his request for a protective order?
Because they show, really, it's just a first step to show the court why, as you might be wondering, why has he put up with this? Why has he waited so long to do anything? The answer is he was afraid of the force that would happen against him. That's why. If the court doesn't think that's relevant, I'm happy to skip it, but I thought that that might be the first question of why did this take so long? Why did he wait from 2023 until now? And the incident is because, I mean, unfortunately, and I don't get to say this very often with male victims, but he's a domestic violence victim, Your Honor. He is coerced either through romantic interest or interest involving his son, and with very charismatic texts and very charismatic personality to come back and rejoin this romantic relationship until it blows up again. He's subjected to abuse by Ms. Paul. He then goes back and kind of says, okay, I'm going to stop it, and then comes forward.
But if I understand your argument, you're saying it wasn't until she threatened to interfere with his work life that's what prompted him to file for a protective order?
No, he filed actually because of the most recent incident when he decided to break the cycle.
All right.
I'm just showing the audio to say why he was afraid to do it sooner. That's
okay. All right.
So, that being said, Your Honor, I think there's clearly sufficient evidence under preponderance of evidence, especially with the charge and the plea of guilty, to definitely show that there's been subject to domestic violence. I don't think that's, in many ways, a difficult argument in terms of him granting a protective order under the statute. However, we have a competing protective order, so let's talk about that. We'll get into the response here, Your Honor.
Well, I want to hear Mr. Swinard make his case in chief first before we get into the response.
Happy to do that. Didn't know how you wanted to handle it, Your Honor.
All right.
So, but I'm happy to respond to that once we're ready.
All right,
so.
Very good. And let me just ask too, Mr. McDonald, I don't know how much input you have as to whether the protective order itself should enter or whether it's more pertinent to the parent time issue.
I don't intend to argue whether either protective order should enter. I just plan to address parent
Okay.
time.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Swinard.
Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Please.
Some hard copies for you that counsel has.
Is this from the thumb drive that I've already received from you?
No.
Something new that I haven't seen before?
Everything's been filed
right.
and provided to counsel already.
All right.
We have not submitted a thumb drive. That would be from Mr. Mortensen's side.
Okay.
So if I understand.
That's right. It was from him. That's right.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that I've got the sequence down correctly in terms of how you want to proceed. My plan was to rebut their request for a protective order and then also drift into my client's request.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Well, let me start with, I think, the primary incident, Dakota's Exhibit 1. We can call this the Barstool incident from 2023. My client has zero excuses for this. It's self-evident that something happened. It should not have happened. It is a tragedy that Dakota and my client's daughter were the victims of her actions. She entered a plea in abeyance for assault on Dakota. She's on track to complete her probation in a few months' time, I believe in August. We don't have excuses for this, but there is a little bit of context to add to this incident. This was a very difficult time in their relationship. They were going through some challenges, of course, compounded by the fact that my client was dealing with 2 recent miscarriages. Alcohol was also a massive factor in the 2023 incident, a factor that is no longer an issue. She has not consumed alcohol. As for Exhibit 2, I think this is an important exhibit as well. This is a video that depicts my client slapping Dakota while they were in an argument in her home. Now, my client understands she should not have hit Dakota. The court can take note of that. It's relevant evidence. We understand that. The video also shows some conduct on Dakota's part that I find concerning. Immediately before she slapped him, he took multiple steps toward him, physically squaring up to her.
Toward her?
Toward her, yes, emphasizing the extreme size and strength disparity of this case. I don't know how big Dakota is. I've heard he's about my size, give or take. When I stand next to Taylor, I feel like a monster. I feel like a giant.
Well, she didn't retreat, right?
She did not retreat. That is correct. But she responded how a lot of folks would. She felt threatened if you get in her face like this. He tells her, hit me. And she did, unfortunately. After she slapped him, he berated her while laughing in her face, telling her to shut up. You're toxic. I hate you, and I hate you more than anyone. It's an ugly encounter between these two parties. I think both acted inappropriately, and so I think the court can take some note of that context here. The court was particularly concerned at the April 7th hearing regarding the May 27th, 2025 pushing video, where my client, it depicts her unsuccessfully, I'd say, pushing him out of her home. Now, as she stated in argument on the 7th, as she's repeated and reiterated in her declaration submitted yesterday, she should not have pushed him. The court is justified in being even more concerned about this by the fact that Dakota was holding their son. She acknowledges that. Leading up to this incident, so as you know, Your Honor, it's a brief video. Clearly, there's something going on before the video that resulted in this, and there's also additional context afterward, once Dakota stopped recording. Leading up to the incident, in the days leading up to the incident, Ever had been very ill, and that's their 2-year-old son. Ever had been very ill, and they were having a hard time getting on the same page about how to treat him, how to help him. She feels that leading up to this and during these discussions, he blew her off when she was trying to bring him up to speed. This created a lot of frustration, a lot of tension in the room, so to speak. He came to her house for an exchange right before the video starts. Tempers flared, and she demanded that he leave her home. He did not. This is a familiar pattern in this case. The video picks up with her yelling at him and demanding that he leave. He doesn't. He decides to tell her no, and he lectures her. She then attempts to push him out of the house again while she's holding Ever. Right before he stops recording, she loses her footing and he calls her a fucking bitch. At that point, the recording ends, but what transpires is extremely important for the court to consider as well. And this is rebuttal information, but also something that we would believe give ground to something that we believe would constitute grounds for a protective order in Taylor's favor. She falls to the ground, falls to the floor in her home, and Dakota kicks her multiple times, primarily on the leg. Our Exhibit A, and this is a brief correction, Your Honor.
The May 25 incident.
This is May, yes. There are other pictures that you'll see of injuries to Taylor. Those came in the aftermath of the February. In there, yes. So I'll walk you through
Or
this.
the ones that were attached to her petition.
Yes. So
Hey everybody, if you're still listening, thank you for staying till the end of the video. If you've followed me for a long time and you've read my story, you may know that I have lupus and autoimmune liver disease, so there are times when I go a while without posting. I hate it, but some days it's just hard to get out of bed. If you have any autoimmune diseases, you understand. So I just want to say to those that have reached out just to check up on me or say kind words, how much I really appreciate it. I really am going to try to get better. If you are on the Creator Rewards program and you make videos, if you could reach out to me, I'm trying to figure out how to monetize my page. They keep saying it's unoriginal, but I make changes to it, so I'm always kicked out of the program. But I really could use the money. I know everybody could. So if you could help me figure that out and you're still listening, please message me. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you guys are doing great. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this hearing?